Good morning, June.
Good morning, Mr. Adams.
Won't you sit down?
Thank you.
Susan makes sure she has a pencil that has a good, sharp point.
There aren't any loud noises, just the sounds of working. Bobby certainly knows the quiet way of working by himself, doesn't he?
That's another important thing to remember about rules. They're set up to meet a need, and we can each take part in changing them if changes are needed.
Every education system in the world is being reformed at the moment, and it's not enough. What we need is not evolution, but a revolution in education.
We need to graduate all students innovation ready to solve problems creatively.
A decent education ought to be creating free, independent, creative human beings.
It's about customizing them to your circumstances and personalizing education to the people you're actually teaching.
I cannot teach a student well whom I do not know.
Think about your own work. Are the problems that you face, do they have a clear set of rules and a single solution? No.
Knowledge is a commodity. The world no longer cares whether or not you're smarter than a fifth grader or how well you do at Trivial Pursuit. What the world cares about is not what you know, but what you can do with what you know.
When we think about the future and what kids need for the future, globalization is going to impact our kids unlike any generation in the past. Technology is impacting our kids unlike any generation in the past. So just getting a student into a good college, for example, is no longer adequate.
We have to ask ourselves, so what are the skills? What do they actually need? And so we started on this journey of discovery. We took trips around the world to schools that we thought were trying to do something different, innovative.
Where are there places that are doing this well? What can we learn from them? And what we can draw from them to put into the SAS environment to create a preferred future for our kids and our school programs.
And so there were 32 of us from the high school who actually had the opportunity to do a lot of research based on literature, looking at data, looking at other schools. We actually got to travel around the world and actually see very innovative things happening.
I spent the week in California with my colleagues exploring schools from San Diego to San Francisco and taking a look at what they're doing that is really interesting and innovative. It was affirming in many ways. SAS is doing some amazing work, but it was also inspiring because we could see as a team how we could bring SAS to the next level.
That was one of the best kind of experiences for me as a professional, is to go and see schools that are doing things very differently and they're doing them successfully. Because it is very easy to get into the mindset of change is too hard and the status quo is actually pretty good. And it's very true at SAS. The status quo is very, very good. It's an outstanding institution that serves kids very well. Just because we're good doesn't mean we can't be better. Just because it's worked in the past doesn't necessarily mean that it will continue to work.
We are an outstanding academic institution, and so you are still going to get a fantastic foundational learning experience here. But what we're going to be able to provide to your student is, as they start to explore their interests and want to pursue their passion, we're going to give them that opportunity in new and flexible ways.
We're trying to embark upon a vision whereby kids not only develop these core knowledge, but they develop what we call our desired student learning outcomes. These are skills, 21st century skills, and they include things like collaboration, communication, creativity, critical thinking, and also cultural competence and character. This package is what we think kids need to be successful in the future.
It's more than just helping them, get into a good college. It's about, preparing them for being successful in any endeavor they pursue in life.
And our vision is profound from our perspective: a world leader in education, cultivating exceptional thinkers prepared for the future.
When I was 7 years old, I had my first performance, and it was in the Esplanade. I was a very determined little girl. I loved it. Nothing was going to stop me. All my teachers have been so supportive. They completely understood that I just loved what I did. I had set in stone that this is what I wanted to do. And because I made that so clear, and all of the teachers and principals and counselors They knew that. They did everything they could in their power to help me. Senior year, I was doing 2 shows in Singapore and in the Philippines. I had so much going on in my last semester. I needed a certain amount of credits. And so we talked to Dr. Stewart. We agreed on this capstone project. I was going to document all my performances and shows and everything and turn it into a big documentary, and I would submit that for my final credit. I'm here and it's amazing. It's a great feeling. I think SAS gave me the confidence I needed to go out there. They all believed in me so much. And because of that, I felt like, yeah, I can do it. I don't think any other school would have done that for me, would have been as supportive as the community was in SAS. I'm living my dream. It can only get better.
So we're seeing kids who are doing things that are really compelling for universities because they want those kinds of kids. But more importantly, it's changing their lives.
The 2 big ideas that we have focused on, one is the idea of relationships.
What we've spoken a lot about is providing an institutional guarantee that every single student will be known. And the catchphrase we use is making our big school feel small.
We want to be a place where students feel known, loved, and supported so that we can challenge them, hold them accountable, push them beyond what they think is possible. The other big idea is this idea of personalized learning. If we can offer our students a course of study that they have selected based on their interests and their passions, they can actually reach excellence in that area.
So the Capstone Project essentially is a way that students get to define what they want to do for a change, and it gives students an opportunity to really find a topic that they're really passionate about and then really investigate that topic.
One of the most exciting things for me has been to see the students that have been engaged in the Capstone Project take all of their learning and actually apply it to the real world.
The purpose of this semester's extended capstone was to solidify the project, to do everything from branding to distribution to marketing.
These women in India who weren't able to stay at school because of the menstrual hygiene products either not being available or too expensive to these girls. So we wanted to create something that would emulate what people can get in the Western world, but make it really cheap. The concept of a reusable pad built into underwear is not new, but the concept of making it for like 83 cents, like no one's ever done that before. So what we did was we went and created a reusable menstrual pad that was cheap and accessible for these women in rural areas of India. A lot of the stuff we did was based off things we had learned before. Zane and I took the same economics class. We used a ton of stuff we learned in that class on this project. All of this stuff had come from this kind of base knowledge that we'd acquired over the first 2 years.
What was really beneficial about having the day-on, day-off schedule is that we'd have a full day to meet with people to go off campus. For example, we had to meet with the pro bono lawyers from the Singapore Law Society, talking about the founding of an NGO in Singapore. I thought that was a very valuable experience.
For us, it was the first time that someone had dropped us in the deep end and said, you know what, you guys have a plan, you guys have an idea, go for it.
My job right now is support students. It's a lot of micro-teaching. So they come in and I give them a brief, like 5 minutes, hey, you can do this differently, have a look at this. Very much gone from being the sage on the stage, to actually being the guide on the side.
It does take a lot of courage to relinquish some control, but what I've learned is when you put more control in the students' hands, they will always go way beyond your expectations.
Instead of having school happen to them or doing school, that they're actually in charge of what they're learning and absolutely curious, and how do I do this, and where do I go from here, and kind of taking off from that point.
Well, Kevin is really that kid who inspired me to realize that we needed to create opportunities for more kids. When I look at the sum total of that project as a high school kid, the learning is absolutely remarkable. And I wanted to become a school where that was the norm.
I first found my inspiration in northern India. Well, it was my 10th grade SAS trip. The trip is a service trip, and we planned to go to a couple different orphanages. I saw orphans who were months old suffering from hypothermia because of the cold weather. Worldwide, 4 million children die annually because of hypothermia. and just seeing those figures, doing the research, I saw there is indeed a great need. So I came up with this idea of the IncuWarmer. The IncuWarmer is a low-cost, non-electric, reusable infant incubator designed to reduce infant mortality worldwide. So in junior year, I actually pursued the IncuWarmer full on. It was a very culminative process in pretty much every discipline that I've learned. At the time when I didn't, it wasn't a norm. So there's a lot of faith in me and what I want to pursue. My long-term vision is to launch the IncuWarmer to send to developing regions. I hope that the invention will reduce infant mortality worldwide. I'm Kevin Wong. Currently, I'm a freshman at Stanford University.
We believe that this is what's best for kids, and we have the capability, the intellect, and the resources to actually make it happen. I want a kid who comes here to say that my life was fundamentally changed as a result of the teachers that I had, the people that I met, the experiences that I had, because I believe so much in this faculty, in the parents, in the kids, in this environment. I really believe that as a result of being here, we can change the course of a student's life, and the world is going to be a better place because of what happened in this school.